Hello everyone and welcome back to Make Your Mind. This is a tutorial video. This is actually a second tutorial video that I'm going to be making. Let me roll my sleeves up real quick. There we go. This is a tutorial video for another character from Hornet, and this is a character that easily could be made by anyone, and I'm going to try to make these instructions if anybody wants to try this at home. I'll try to make this as simple as possible, but the character we're going to be making today is in fact Hornet. As you can see, this is the character that I had made for a video that I have already posted. I made a video showing this was her character along with a couple of characters included in the new up-and-coming game Silksong. Go adjust your head right there. There we go. And now I'm going to show you all how to make the character Hornet. Now here is the clay materials that we're going to be using. I'm going to start off with a little bit of white, a little bit of dark red. To get this kind of color, you want to mix a little bit of black with a little bit of red in order to get this sort of darker maroon red. I also have black here, and I have a little bit of gray. Now in order to do her needle and thread, you can use something as simple as a toothpick. I would recommend anyone, if they were just making this willy-nilly to make this figure, you could just use a toothpick and then make the needle part on one end and then the ring on the other. But for this one, I'm actually going to be using something a little bit more consistent with Hollow Knight. I'm using this. This is an 18-gauge, 2-inch brad nail from a nail gun. So I'm literally going to use an actual nail to make her weapon. And as you can see, that's her weapon right there with the nail on it. As you can see, I got a little bit of the thread swinging around the other way. Let me go ahead and swing that around, make that a little more epic there. There we go. Looks cool. She has that fighting stance. Looks so awesome. All right, Hornet, you're going to go up there. All right, everyone. Now let's begin. So we're going to start off by doing the main prevalent part of her, and that is her head, her shell. It has this very large crest on the top with the eyes, so we're going to start there first. So we're going to take our white, we're going to get it warm in our hands first by rolling it back and forth like so. You can roll it fast or slow, however you want. Get it nice and warm, it'll start to roll and even out this way. Then you're going to pinch and take off a piece, just like that. Let's see here. To make it to scale, we're going to take off a little bit more. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our clay, we're going to put it on our surface, and we're going to roll it back and forth. Now how we're going to do this, we're going to roll, and then as we roll, we're going to push down this way and then push down that way as we roll to try to elongate the head. You see how that's already starting to get longer? You can see it appearing on my hands. Now in order to make it longer, to make it go faster, you can actually spread your fingers out as you roll in order to make it. There we go. So that's what it looks like now. Now what we'll do, take off a little bit so we don't have quite so much. We're going to roll one of the ends to a point, and then the other end to a point, make them even, and then we're simply going to curl pieces up like this, give them a slight twist in the middle there using our thumb and our finger. And then there's the start of the head crest. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our thumb and our finger and pinch and flatten it out just slightly. And then we're going to take our fingers right here and we're going to pinch and make a very fine point. You don't have to put a lot of pressure. Let the clay do most of the work. And there we go. There's the start of Hornet's head crest. So we're going to put that to the side. Now, the next part that we're going to do, let's go ahead and move the gray. And actually, we'll start off with the red. We'll put the excess white off to the side. We don't need it right now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start making her cloak. Now her cloak is going to have a couple of pieces, including the neck piece, as you can see up here, which is like a little turtleneck, and then the actual cloak sections that curl out. So we got to make each one of those sections individually, and this does take time. So be patient with it. So right now I'm making the neck piece. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I take my thumb, press in there, and I roll as I push my thumb in to make that shape. You see that? It starts to round it over, and then you can also use your fingers to roll it to try to make that sort of neck shape right there. Then from here, we're going to flatten the other side, and then we're going to pinch using our fingers and pull a little bit of clay outwards, around in a circle. So now the shape looks like this. And that's the start of the cloak. Now the part that's going to take the longest here is going to be to do the individual pieces of her dress or her cloak that comes down. And to do that, we're going to have to make multiple of these, but I will show you how to make one, and then we'll jump cut once all of these are done. So right now, as you can see, I am pinching and flattening and pulling at the same time. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on this stuff. You can make it work for you, not against you. Here, I'll take a little extra off of there. So what we're going to do is we have the piece that looks like this. We're going to roll in and try to square that off and then make two individual points that kind of come outwards, like so. So use your fingers and pinch and then pull with your fingers. Now, apologize if I'm moving a little fast. I do this quite naturally. I've been doing it for a very long time. And I do often do what's called the claw, where I lift my pointer finger out of the way and use my middle finger, so bear with me a little bit. So you want to take that shape and you want to pull it and put it to a point. And you're going to make a bunch of these. You're probably going to make about... I'm probably going to end up making about 8 of these. So let me go ahead and do a quick jump cut, and I will have 8 of these made. Okay, there we go. Quick little jump cut. I got 8 of these made, so let me go ahead and display those right here. There we go. Now, they're not exactly perfect yet, but we're going to refine them as the shape becomes formed. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our black, and we're going to take a piece off, like so. And you're gonna try to judge how big you want it. There we go. Try to keep that camera focused. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the body. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna split off and make a couple of separate pieces, like so. Here, let me get the cloak out of the way here. There we go. The neck piece over there, and then you as the sparrow go over there. Now Hornet is quite tall. She's actually a taller character than the vessel. And she's also one of the main bosses in the game. You end up fighting her twice, and she also ends up becoming the playable character in the upcoming game Hollow Knight Silksong. Which that game, oh my goodness, I am so ecstatic for what's coming up with that game. I can't wait to play it. If I get it, I may end up doing a Let's Play on this channel, but let me continue with the tutorial here. So, as you can see with the body, what I did, let me back up a little bit. So I started off by squaring off the body. And what I do is I pinch and flatten and try to make a sort of rectangular shape like this. And then with those broken off pieces, I end up making the legs. So what I do then is I roll the pieces, and then as I'm rolling, I pull the clay in this direction so that it makes a point, so that it makes her feet. Let's use the cloak real quick, make sure that her dress is the right size. Her body's a little long, so we'll make it a little shorter. Like I said, the main thing about this kind of stuff is just refinement over time. You may not do it the exact same way that I'm doing it, but trust me, you'll get better at it the more times you do it. So as you can see, what I did is to attach the leg, what I did is I pushed the leg into the bottom of the body there, and then I twisted it and it blended it in with the bottom. So that way, her legs are like that. And let me go ahead and make her legs a little shorter. There we go. And I'm taking the ends and I'm rolling the tips to refine them just a little bit. Alright, now what I'm doing is I'm actually beginning to give her a little bit more features. So I'm going to give her some hips. Just like that. So what I did is I took my clay and I pressed it and pushed in towards my other fingers. And what that does is that makes a little bit more definition. You see that? And I'll do the same thing with the top to make her shoulders. I pinch on two sides and then push in with my finger, and then pinch and flatten as I go. So that way it gives her that definite shape. Check that out. That's a pretty good start. That's pretty awesome. Look at that. Alright, now we're going to take a little bit of extra clay we have. If you don't have any extra, make sure you grab your black clay and give yourself some plenty to work with. So we're going to break off two pieces and make two little balls just like that. And then we're going to roll them in our fingers, or you can roll them on a surface. Try to make them a little bit long, but don't quite put it to a point yet. Then what you're going to do is you're going to same thing with the legs here. You're going to put the piece in, you're going to pinch it in, and then you're going to simply roll it in to blend the piece into the rest of the body, so that it looks like it was always there from the start. Hopefully you recognize the music in the background. That's the song I've been playing this whole time. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing with the other arm. I'm going to roll it in my fingers real quick just to save a little time for the video. And there we go. There is Hornet's body. Let's go ahead and put her arms down. See, her arms are not quite that long, so we'll take a little off. Save that for later. Now there's Hornet's body. So we have her body, her head crest, and we have her dress. So now we're going to start putting this whole thing together. We're going to start off with the neck piece that we made. And we're going to take that neck piece and we're going to place it on the very top of the cloak like so. We'll push it into the piece like that. Bring the shoulders down a little bit. And there we have it. There's the start of the head. Then now what we're going to do is we're going to take the individual pieces of her dress and we're going to attach them to the neck part individually. And then as we attach them, you see how I'm doing this? I'm using my thumb and I'm using it to blend in the neck piece with the dress, so that way it all looks like it's one shape. It all looks like it came from one piece. And then as we create the pieces, we're going to take the bottoms and we're going to simply roll the bottoms and then roll our way up to make make her dress curl up like it does. Now each one of these pieces is going to be individual. So you're going to do that individually with these. So since I showed you that, let me do one more quick jump cut and show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, and there we go. As you can see, I got all 8 of the pieces surrounding the entire cloak. Now what I did in order to make all these fit properly, I overlapped them slightly just to give it that look. And as you can see, the dress can sort of overlap itself a little bit. But it certainly has that cool look of Hornet's dress. And then now, the next part that we're going to work on is her shell, the head crest. That's really one of the last parts that we have to do. So now we're going to make the eyes. We're going to take a little bit of the black, and we're going to simply roll, don't worry about my claw, roll 2 pieces that are fairly small. They depending on how big your sculpture is, they can be as big or small as you want, but you want to try to make them to scale of how she looks. As you can see, they're fairly small, and they're a little bit more slitted. They're more oval-shaped than the typical, than like the vessel's eyes, for example, like you would see right here, if you see the difference. Here's the vessel I made, and then there's Hornet. You see the eyes are very different, and they're sort of angled inward, like she's sort of angry, but also kind of focused and determined. So I'll go back to that. So we're going to do the same thing with this. So we'll take our little ball of clay here, we're going to roll it slightly just to elongate it, like so. We're going to flatten it on our hands to make that slight oval shape, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pinch one side to give it a point, and then we're going to pinch the other side to give it that oval shape. Now you see that shape? That looks pretty close. And then what we'll do is we'll take that first shape, we'll We'll try it out on the sculpture and we'll see what it looks like. That looks pretty good, but we're going to make it a little bit smaller, so we're going to pinch off a little bit of clay, roll it off to the side, and then refine that shape, make it the same shape again. There we go. And we're going to try that again. Alright. Ooh, that looks much better. So now let's replicate that on the other side. So we're going to take our piece, roll it, press it in, flatten it, and we'll use I'll use my my claws here to pinch both sides and make that oval shape, and then we'll try it. And that looks pretty good, but the eye is a little bit too big, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take off a little bit, put it with the excess, and then make that shape once again. Now let's put that piece on again. Oh yeah, that's much better. Here, we'll sweep that eye up a little bit more. And just refine a little bit of a shape from there. Then there's Hornet's head. Now, in order to make her head fit properly, we're going to take a little bit of this red and we're going to make a small ball. And we're going to actually put that right here on the back of her head. Like so. So that way her head will sit up on her neck when we attach her head to her neck. So we're going to take that, press down enough to where we can't see it, bend it forward, and boom! There you have it. There's Hornet. Now, in order to make her weapon, we're going to take that nail, or this nail I have here, or you can take the toothpick, whichever you pick. Take a little bit of our gray. If you can't get gray, if you mix white and black, and you mix them in equal sizes, they'll come out with a gray color similar to this. That's what I had to do in order to make this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break off a small piece like so, and break off another small piece like this, roll it up into a ball, and we'll save both of those for later. Now with this piece, this is going to be the needle of her needle and thread. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll it out and pull the clay so that it makes a point, like so. Alright, there we go. So now we're going to pinch and flatten. Then we'll take our finger here, pinch to one side, and then push to make a flat edge. Just like that. And look at that, we already got the needle. That's all it takes. Now what we'll do is we'll take the nail, or we'll take the toothpick, whichever you pick, and we're going to put it in, we're going to place it in, and then we're going to guide it in just barely in. Push it in and keep pinching the sides so that way you can guide it in, and so that way it doesn't pop out on the other side. Like so, and there we go, and there's the start of her needle. Now with that ball that we had earlier, we're going to roll that out into a flat, actually not a flat, but a longer shape, pulling it from side to side to side to get it nice and long like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to roll the ends like this. Now what we're going to do, this is actually this is the eye, I guess, of the needle. So we're going to take that, we're going to roll it in. We're going to make the eye like so. We're going to make a shape. It almost looks a little bit like a ribbon. So I rolled it in, you make the eye, then you fold it over itself and then push down to flatten it. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to take the end of our nail, push it in there slightly, get that to fit, and then what we'll do is we'll twist those bottom tails into each other like so, and then simply flatten them with our finger and blend them into the shape. And there we have it. There is Hornet's needle and thread. So now we'll put that to the side. And now to make a little bit of thread, that's actually the fairly easy part. We're going to take some of the extra white that we have. Now you want to roll this until it's fairly thin. Here, Hornet, why don't you go back here, girl? There we go. Put our extra back over there. Get those out of the way. needle up here. Now to make the thread, we're going to take a little bit of our white and we're going to roll it out until it's as thin, about as thin as we can get it. Stretching it out by spreading it with our fingers like so. This is really good music. All right. See if we can get it a little bit thinner than that. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Get it thin, get it thin. All right, that's pretty good. So now that's a little too much, so we're going to go ahead and take off a little bit. We'll have 2 pieces. We'll save that for later. You want to make it thin enough to where whatever size eye you made for the needle, that way it can fit through it, just like a real needle and thread. Now you see the eye. Now we're going to take our thread here and we're going to simply put it through the eye as if it was real. Roll it around like so until it touches. And what you're going to do is you're going to pinch the end a little bit. You're going to grab the 2 ends like this, and then you're simply going to twist with your finger like so. And then you're going to keep twisting it until it twists like it's threaded up. And then look at that. There's the needle and thread. Now here, we're going to take this and make it just a little bit longer. If you want to make it longer, you're going to have to press your finger down on one side and roll very gently. There we go. Sorry, I got to keep the music going. And there's the needle and thread. All right, Hornet, let me see one of your hands. Let's move the dress out of the way. You see her hand right there. We're going to put her hand out the back like this. Spread her legs out, put her in a combat stance. And then we'll take the needle and thread and we're going to put it into her hand. Just a little bit halfway up to about here. And then we're going to simply roll her hand into it. So that way she's holding it. Put the needle up close to her body, so that way it sticks. And then take the thread and then simply wind it around till it looks cool. And there you have it. There's Hornet. Isn't that just awesome? Oh man. Got the whole needle arrangement here. This one took me a little bit longer because there's a little bit more details, but if you've watched all the way up to this point, I sincerely appreciate you. And if you can get a hold of this kind of clay, you can get this clay at any of your Walmarts, Targets, arts and craft stores, or you can also get it on Amazon. This is just a wax-based clay that can be used, but you can also use oven-baked clay or any other type of clay. And with that, if you want to see more tutorial videos like this, remember to leave a like down below and also subscribe and hit the bell to allow all notifications so you don't miss the next video. I already did the video of the vessel. Now I did Hornet. Isn't that just awesome? All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.